Hello Internet, my name is Bobo. I'm currently at a real store looking at movies. Oh man, these are all great, but mostly on streaming services, so I don't need to buy any of them. You know, I want to watch Pokémon. What's that on? I love the bargain bin. Cheap DVDs. These things are really fun. It always feels like a toss-up of what you're gonna get. Maybe it's a budget release of some kind, or a copy of Spider-Man 2 they couldn't sell in 2004. But for me, these are a great way of getting things that would be way too big for one streaming service. In this case, Pokémon. This franchise has been running for 25 years with a new season of the anime always airing. I loved this show growing up. Seeing Diamond and Pearl with Bakugan, Gundalian Invaders, and Beyblade Metal Fusion every Saturday was peak Cartoon Network for me. But when trying to watch Pokémon now, it can be a bit of a pain. With over 20 seasons, it's hard to find one place to keep everything. Usually Netflix would have whatever the current generation is, plus some of the movies, but everything else is up in the air. So if you really want to experience Pokémon, the best you can do is buy the DVDs. Luckily for me, some of these are dirt cheap and I was able to pick a few up. Now it's not just about the movie for me, it's also about what's surrounding them. What's the packaging like? What's the disc like? How are the menus? Are there bonus features? All the stuff you don't get when watching a movie on Netflix. Or what you see in most DVD unboxings. You know, maybe that's why I'm so curious about this. You wouldn't know what any of it looks like unless you buy the DVD. Well, today I'm gonna show you what some of these Pokemon movies are all about. Minus the menus. I don't have a way to capture actual footage from the DVD, so sorry about that. I'll try and fix that in the future. Now I should also say I haven't seen most of these movies yet, so I'm not gonna comment on their quality. Just know I'll get around to it eventually because I do love Pokemon. Let's start with the one that started this trend for me. Pokemon the movie, I Choose You. Made to celebrate the 20th anniversary of Pokemon, this was an alternate take on Ash's origin story. Released 7 years ago, I actually watched this in theaters when it originally came out, and it was a fun time. If you look hard enough, you could probably find me in one of those audience reacts to Pikachu talking videos. But I actually really enjoyed this movie. It was a fun alternate universe take on Ash. I like the new partners, and if they appeared in the main show, I wouldn't have complained. It also has one of my favorite Pokemon in it, Piplup, which is always great. So when I had the chance to grab it a few years later for $7, I got it. I don't know what I was expecting, but it looked so nice and fancy. I was wondering what else would be on it. Nothing. It was just the movie and the trailer. But at least that's something, and what's surrounding it is really nice. The slipcover with this artwork looks really good. Even if you aren't the biggest fan of this movie, you gotta admit, it has some great artwork. The back is just some more generic stuff. Just Ash and some Pokemon with a movie description. And the case is the same thing. The spine also has this really cute image of Pikachu, and the art seems to be pretty similar to some art used on some promo cards given out around the time the movie released. But it's what's on the inside that matters. I always love opening up the case and seeing what's inside, and this one has some really nice disc art. It's probably reused from something, but it's still really good artwork. There's also an ad for the Pokemon manga, which is fun, and the last thing is this really nice back cover art. It also has Piplup, and that means it's amazing and I love it. This set a pretty high bar of what to expect with these DVDs. It's nothing too amazing, but there was some effort put into it to make it feel like there was a lot there, even if there wasn't much. But in the end, I really enjoyed this and wanted to check out some of the older movies. So the next one I got was this $5 copy of Pokémon Forever. This does not reach that standard. This copy of Pokémon Forever just feels so cheap. I know it is cheap, but it probably wasn't always $5. Maybe it was 10 at some point. But this feels like a DVD doomed to sit in the bargain bin until some Pokemon fan wants to see it. So perfect for me. The cover art is just a poster for the movie, but it feels so cheap here. This family-approved logo and the text on the bottom is definitely contributing to that feeling, and the back of the box is not helping either. It's just a screenshot from the movie with a giant wall of text on it. And the case feels really bad. It feels like I could snap it in half with very little effort, but who knows, maybe the disc will make up for it. Well, at least it has the Forcast logo on it, that's kinda nostalgic. Yeah, it's just a generic gray disc. The most boring kind, but hey, for $5, I can't complain too much. It's certainly a way to watch the movie in 2005. This seems to be from 2014. Wow, this does not look good for that time. If you want to check this movie out, it's okay for $5 and that's it. The next one I got was Pokemon Heroes for $4. It's basically the same thing as Forever. Same cheap look, the back is even worse, just some screenshots with a blurb. I know this cover is official art, but there's just something really cheap in how it looks. Maybe it's the way it's printed, or this family approved logo making its return. These seem to be distributed by the same company, Miramax. That may explain why this is another great disc, but at least this case is a bit better. Not much higher quality, but it is better. Not much to say though beyond it's cheap, but for $4, it's fine. I have one more Miramax DVD, and that's this Pokemon collector set I got for $5. This has 4 movies: Pokemon Heroes, Pokemon Forever, Destiny Deoxys, and Jirachi Wishmaker. I got this one later than the first 2, so I didn't accidentally buy the same movies twice, I just wanted the other 2. And for $5? That's not bad. What is bad is everything else. Another great disc, the box art is really bland, just Ash and some Pokemon on a yellow background. The back is some small descriptions of each movie, and as you can see, Jirachi Wishmaker is not family approved, yet the one where Ash kisses Latias is perfectly fine. But even after all that, this really isn't that bad. It's still 4 movies for $5. Any kid who likes Pokemon would probably love this. I don't even really think it's that bad. I definitely have problems with it, but I just think it's fun to see how this compares to the other DVDs, even if I think this one is the worst. Now let's look at a better collection. Here we have the Pokemon Black and White 4 movie collection. Though technically it's 3. The Victini movie has 2 different versions, just one with Reshiram and one with Zekrom. You also get Kyurem in the Sword of Justice, as well as Genesect in The Legend Awakens. All these on 2 discs with some disc art. It's not amazing, but it's nice to see the main Pokemon on the disc. Oh hey, an ad for the Pokemon Sun and Moon manga. Wasn't this 7 years ago? Now the cover is just okay. It's the main Pokemon with Black and White Ash, so it is a bit on the bland side, but I like how this looks over the other collection. The back is also pretty basic with movie logos and really long descriptions. I think it's a solid collection, even if it's a bit bland. I'd also like to note this was released by Viz Media, who have done the more recent DVD and Blu-ray releases, including I Choose You. So it seems like they put in a bit more effort for their releases. Not a lot more though. The last thing we're gonna look at is the Rise of Darkrai single release by Viz Media that I got for $5. This is very similar to the Pokemon Forever DVD. This case also feels like I can easily snap it in half with no effort, but everything else about it I kinda like. The cover art is really good with no family approved logo in sight. You need to be a big boy to watch this one. The text actually works here as it's a tagline and not some random review quote. The back is a bit bland with just an image of Darkrai, but it has this cheesy yet nice look to it. On the inside there is some disc art of Darkrai. This is what I want to see on more discs. It doesn't have to be amazing, but it is something cool related to the movie. So even if it's not that much different from a Miramax release, just adding a bit more makes the case a lot nicer. Even if it's just as cheap, I really like this. I'd say it's worth the $5. Or maybe it's because there's another Piplup here, so to me, it's already good. It should also be noted, I'm a big Diamond and Pearl fan, so I may be a little biased. One thing I didn't talk about though are the spines. All of these on a shelf would look completely inconsistent. I think it's kind of fun though, since they're all different, but I don't know if I like it or not. But what I can say is I liked I Choose You the most, then Rise of Darkrai, the Black and White collection, Pokemon Forever, Heroes, and the collector set. I don't know why, but I guess I just find these weird cases fun. I do have a few Pokemon seasons as well as some other DVDs I want to talk about, so maybe we can revisit this topic in the future when I have more to show you. But right now, I hope you can appreciate the fun designs on your old DVDs. I think we all have a special childhood movie that has a box design that sticks in our minds just as much as the movie. Even if the box isn't really the best, it's still part of the experience. An experience that isn't really the same with streaming. But one thing that this has over streaming is that it can't be taken away from us. But it can be lost. I misplaced the 4 movie collection. It's gone.